Can we get someone to give us an opening prayer? Isaac, do you want to give us a prayer? Mark Glory, you can go on.
Humble ourselves for prayer. Oh Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you that you've given us the might to come to this ICT lesson. We pray that all the knowledge may enter our heads, so that we may pass our VCE exams. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark Glory, for that prayer. This is going to be an ICT lesson for Senior 5 to the Holistic Learning Platform. And my name is Masab Erisa. I'll be taking you through this second lesson of this holiday. Our first lesson was same time last week, and we'll be continuing from where we ended last week. And maybe for purposes of recalling what we studied last week, I had to come here with the previous lesson slide, where I want to run through a very fast. Those people who were here last week, I said Senior 5. This subject is put into 2 papers. There is paper 1, which is theory, and there is paper 2, which is practical. And we talked about how they convert those marks to end into the marks that you see on the card. And we also said that for you to pass UNEB, you must have understood this question allocation for ICT. And this question allocation goes for 20 marks. This is how UNEB sets. Each question, each topic has been allocated a number of questions in that question paper. For example, the introduction to computer, where you talk about the definitions, the importance of computing, and so many other things in the introduction. 2 questions will be set from that area. Then lab care, troubleshooting, maintenance, 1 question is set from that area. Then file management, computer hardware, computer software, computer hardware, 3 questions. Then software, 3 questions as well. Then internet and World Wide Web also goes for 3 questions. And these are the heavy weighted topics. So if you get back to your schools, try to give a lot of time to those 3 areas, because if you can only master there, you are sure of 9 questions. And 9 questions times 5, that's a good sample. So I expect you to have this as you read. But what happened is that at Holistic Learning Platform, let's close our microphones. Isaac, close your microphone, or else you risk to be put out of the meeting. Sure. Okay, Isaac, this is the last time I'm closing your microphone. And if you open it, again, it will be intentional, and you risk to be moved out of the room. I was saying that as Holistic Learning Platform, this holiday we chose to teach you lab care, troubleshooting, and maintenance. The fact that most schools have covered this introductory bit of it. And we talked about lab care, troubleshooting, and maintenance, and that was the topic we looked at last week. 1 question is going to be set from this area. So if you can master what I've talked about this holiday, you'll be sure of at least 1 question when you go to NEB. But also, lab care, troubleshooting, and maintenance is the core for ICT knowledge as a student or a user, because when your computer breaks down, you should know where to start from. And why would you wait for a computer to break down before you help it? That's why we need to learn about maintenance, but also troubleshooting to tell where the problem would be. that point. So we chose that topic, and it's the one that we introduced last week. And we talked about the subtopics in here, and we said we'll concentrate on computer lab. And the computer lab is what we are talking about this afternoon. We started on this subtopic last week. And if we finish computer lab, we'll talk about computer literacy, then digital divide, computer preventive maintenance will be the last bit that we have to talk about. And I showed you in the last lesson that at Mbalises we have a fairly big computer lab, and this is what we're talking about, a computer lab under this topic. So if you have a computer lab, what are the qualities that make up a good computer lab? What are things that are found inside the computer lab? And how do you care and maintain for computers after you've installed them in the lab is what we are talking about. So allow me take you to today's lesson, that is to talk about these are equipments that we find inside the computer lab. We talked about the fire extinguisher in the previous lesson. There, among so many items, the CCTV cameras, among those other ones. And before we ended the lesson, I left for you to talk about these 4 items that I did not explain. The first one is the anti-glare screens and waterproof covers, first aid box, wall carpets, and so on. So I don't know if anyone tried to read more about these 4 items. You'd put up your hand and explain for us what any of them means, and maybe to the whole of the class. Look through those equipments we find in the computer lab and see which one do you want to explain. Where are we having submath? Let me try to find out from Mr. Kaziva. For those who are doing submath, probably the lesson is on. Let me try to find out as we get someone to give us at least one of those items. Put up the hand and try to explain for us, or else I will quickly talk about them, but then that one would mean people are not doing almost anything when we give you some advice. For submath, hold on, I see if I can get the link near. There are 4 items on that screen. Pick one and try to explain for the rest of them. See if you know any of them. Yes, Wesamo, you can go on, pick one and let us know.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the lesson. I wasn't around in the last lesson, but I can talk about the wool carpet. The wool carpet is like you hear the name. It is made of wool, which can provide the cushioning effect, such that when any device has fallen down on the ground, it falls on the wool carpet and it is cushioned and does not get damaged. It does not get a big damage like getting spoiled, like getting real spoiled. It can just get something like a scratch. I think that's all about the wool carpet.
All right, thank you, Douglas. The wool carpet is the usual carpets. It's almost like the usual carpets, only that this one is made out of wool. And like he has explained, the main purpose for this is one of the main purposes for this woolen carpet is to prevent damage of smaller components if in case they fall down. One of the items could be the keyboard. When it falls down, it is easier for it to land than when it is not having any carpet. But the main reason for a woolen carpet is to protect or to prevent dust from reaching these computing devices. Thank you, Douglas. And can we get the next person to talk about one of these three remaining items? Just put up your hand and give us the one. Yes, Mark Glory.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk about the anti-glare screens. So these are also, they can also be called anti-reflective screens. And basically, they are designed to reduce the amount of light that reflects off the screen or the amount of glare from overhead lighting or the windows. Yeah, so basically, they are to improve our vision, something like that.
Right, thank you. Mark Glory, he has talked about this very important gadget. However, for us here at African continent, we don't over prioritize it. We, in most cases, go live. But it improves on vision, like he said. But the main function of these screens, in most cases, is to reduce the light that comes out of the screens. And I don't know for those who use smartphones, which I believe most of us here, about 95%, have ever seen a smartphone, or if not, about 100% of all of us here. There are these screen guards that I don't know how to call them, but when you put on your phone, the light intensity that comes out of the screen reduces. Maybe that would be the best example I can give you. But also on laptops, these screens are available. You can buy just in case. I teach one of the senior 6 classes here, and there is a particular student who, when you turn on the computer, the tears come out of her eyes. And she was even opting to change the combination just because of ICT. Not that she doesn't like maybe the subject, but the eyes can't allow her to sit on the computer for a longer period of time. But when she shared with the department, that computer was reconfigured. Of course, it's possible to reduce light on those monitors. And right now she's comfortable, but of late, I think her eyes condition was worsened and she was advised to buy these glasses, and she wears them when she comes to not only the lab, but also in the compound because of the light intensity. So you could have the same problem every time you sit in front of the computer and tears come out of your eyes. It means maybe the light is either too much or too small. So you can work on that when you use these screens that Mark Glory had explained to us, that they improve on vision. So it's a very good gadget in the computer lab, and thank you, Mark, for giving us that. Now we are left with 2, the waterproof covers and then the first aid box. Who wants to take away the waterproof covers? Are they even needed in the computer lab? Or the first aid box? Yes, Kevin?
I'm waiting for the link for those who do some math.
Okay. Let me try to send the one that was used last week, but I really don't guarantee that it is the room. But reach there and find out if there is a lesson. If it's not there, I come back here and see. Okay, Mark Broad, you can go on, pick one of the items. I saw you on the app.
Okay, so maybe I'll go with waterproof covers. Yeah, just like the name, waterproof. Remember, in the lab, we have most of the gadgets, I think like 99%, they're all electric. And we all know the electric stuff don't do with water. So these covers basically will prevent any harm like any possible, maybe someone entered with water and it leaked, something like that, such that the machines don't get spoiled. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and they are very, very important. And I don't have any sample here that I would have shown, but waterproof covers, very important, especially next to the windows. So maybe rain can splash anytime. And yeah, it prevents. The main importance here is to protect those equipment, like Mark has said, from the water linkages or maybe exposure to very direct water, just in case that scenario happens. Then the first aid kit is the last one here that we have to talk about. Who wants to talk about the first aid kit? First aid kit in the computer lab. What is it and what does it do? Yes, Douglas?
The first aid kit in the computer lab, it contains like, can I say, drugs and like whatever any other first aid kit has, it's the one that is contained in the first aid kit that can be in the lab. And this first aid kit helps, like when any student has been electrocuted, or there has been any other accident in the lab, so that he can first be given some first aid using the equipment in the first aid book, so that he or she can be taken to the hospital after he has got something, or either painkillers or something else that is in that first aid book. So I think I'm done.
All right, thank you, Douglas. I had some noise interference background, but at least what I had, you were telling us about how first aid kit looks normally, like the normal first aid kits that we see. And I didn't pick what is the importance of that first aid kit in the lab. Maybe if you can start again from there.
Okay, like it is like the normal first aid kit, and it helps when there has been an accident in the lab. Like, because in the lab there is electricity everywhere. Like if a student has been electrocuted, there are some equipment that can be used for some first aid for that very student. Or any other accident, like, oh, the CPU has fallen on his or her leg, or her or what, they can first give him or her some first aid before he's taken to the hospital. Yes, that's all.
All right, I think that is the real basic reason why we have those. That's why we have those gadgets in the computer lab. They are very, very important to give first aid if there is any problem. But majorly, maybe for electricity, those are cases that are very rare, but normally these metallic materials, maybe the system unit can hurt a student, or maybe we have tables, we have stools, it can fall and the student can fall down. Here we are not talking only students, but we call them users. So it must be in place, because those are minor injuries that can be handled from the lab that are taking the child or the student or the user to the hospital. That could be very, very expensive. So I need this kit inside the computer lab. It's very, very important. So in today's lesson, we've talked about the computer lab. We've talked about how to plan to make a computer lab. We looked at the requirements that make up a computer lab. And maybe I would sample out if there is anyone here who attended the previous lesson or anyone who could be knowing some of the requirements for a person to set up a computer lab. You would remind us quickly. Otherwise, in today's lesson, we are going to look at the security precautions. So if the computer has been put in place, there are people using the computer lab, what are some of the safety precautions? How do you prevent your computers from theft? Won't the computers be stolen? And what if the computers are not stolen? How about the user inside? Is the user safe? What if fire comes? Is there any preventive way you can handle the fire? So that is what we'll be talking about as I wait for someone to remind us about the basic requirements. The basic requirements for one to set up a computer lab. If you have the money, what are some of the things you can look at if you're to set up a computer lab? I remember talking about this in the previous lesson. I just want to see if someone can remind us about one or two of those requirements. And if there is no hand, then we'll just straight away go to the security and the precaution measures that we can put in place to protect the user and these gadgets. The question is, what are some of the requirements for one to make a computer lab? What if that question has 5 marks and you've opened the question paper and it's the one that has been said? What would be your answer? Does this mean no one attended the previous lesson? Yes, Tracy?
We have the UPS.
Yes.
Air conditioner and a fire extinguisher.
Okay, yeah, the UPS, the air conditioner, and the fire extinguisher. Thank you, Tracy. But now she has given us the items found inside the computer lab, which is very good. When you open the computer lab, if they've come to inspect it after they've set it up, you need to open the lab. Maybe this one is done by the municipal people. In most cases, if they are to give your school a license, they will want to find out if you have the science labs, and the computer lab is one of them. So they will ask you to open the lab and they will check inside. Otherwise, if you don't have those requirements, one of them is the fire extinguisher. And for those who have been to schools where there are computer labs, you must have seen those fire extinguishers. Some are for decoration, but it's one of the requirements. She talked about the air conditioner and told us about the UPS, which ideally provides backup power. UPS provides backup power in case power goes off abruptly, but also it provides stable amount of power that enters into the computer. A stabilizer, a UPS works almost like a stabilizer, but for it, it keeps power. So those are some of the requirements inside there. And the two questions always confuse. Even me here as I was talking, I had confused the two. The two questions always confuse. If they ask you the requirements of a computer lab, and if they ask you for the factors that you have to consider to set up a computer lab, those two questions always disturb. And the factors are very obvious. Availability of source of power, it should be a dust-free environment. Now, this person using your mother account, start by telling us your name and you can proceed. Now, your mother rather, that's not how we name, and because of that, you'll be getting out of the meeting unless if you open your microphone and defend, if you're not a robot. or else you go straight to the waiting room. And when you organize yourself, you'll come back here. Last chance for you to speak your name. Yes. Give us your name. Okay. Open your microphone and give us your name.
Okay, my name is S.5.
Yes, Techno, you can go on.
Are you getting me?
Yes, please. Your name is what?
Okay, my name is Afayo Godwill. Godwill Afayo. Godwill.
Okay, God will. Okay, God will. Unfortunately, I was not meaning you, but at least you've given us your name. You also didn't have the name. And for your mother, this is the last time I gave you the chance. So, because you can't prove to us that you're a human being, best that you get out of it. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. I will have the factors. The factors are so many. Maybe if someone can tell us one of the factors also before we can go to the safety precautions, the security measures. What are some of the factors you consider when you're setting up the computer lab? We also looked at this in the previous lesson. Tracy has given us the requirements that in most cases. The factors, do we have anyone who can remind us about the factors? People here have come to keep quiet. Now, Tracy, you've given us already. So anyway, give us the factors. Tracy, you can proceed.
We have the computer lab should be set above ground level to prevent water from flowing into the computer lab. Then we have the number of users should be considered.
All right, the number of users is very important for you to consider it. And also above the ground level is very important. Any other factor that you can consider if you have to set up a computer lab? Yes, Joel. Now, Joel, let's rename our gadgets very well. We are not interested in knowing whether you're a proud Kishu or you're not. So after the submission, you go ahead and rename to your full names. Joel, you can go on. And those who have not renamed very well, it's better you get just out of the meeting. Otherwise, the other option is to just have you removed from
Now, we have the initial cost of setting up the laboratory, then the security of the place, and the place must be dust-free, then the availability of power.
All right, dust-free, security of the place, and there must be power. I think that is a very good one. So go ahead and rename. Thank you, Joel, and that was a good one. So those are factors that you consider, and then the requirements are what you find inside. So in today's lesson, we are going to concentrate on the safety precautions and practices inside the computer lab. Now, when you get to the computer lab, my internet is very, very low. I would have showed you how a computer lab looks like here, live camera. But allow me to take you back to slide number 2, I think. Slide number, I'm not sure that slide that has a computer lab. Okay, it's here. Inside the computer, a computer lab looks like that. And this particular one, there is a lesson going on. So when you're inside the computer lab, what are some of the things you should put in mind? There are users that need to be protected. There are computer gadgets that need to be protected as well. But also, there are wooden items here, like you can see this boy is seated on a chair that can catch fire. But also, these computers are on a wooden table that can also catch fire. How do you protect this as well? But most important is the computers themselves. They may steal them. So that is what we'll be talking about in today's lesson. That will take us about 2 hours. And the safety precautions and practices inside the computer lab. There are some things you must do and there are some things you must not do. Like if it's a keyboard, don't come with your drink and you're taking your juice seated next to the keyboard. Reason, you would have not done a good practice while in computer lab, because why would you carry some juice that can pour inside the computer, a keyboard, and spoils them? So that's why in this lesson, we are going to concentrate so much on how to protect your computer lab. Now, this question is set in about 3 ways. A question can be direct, that how do you protect your computers from maybe rain? How do you protect your computers from thieves? How do you so when you're responding to this question, you have to give in accordance to what the examiners asked. And there is an introduction line here that says after establishment of the computer lab, a number of safety precautions, rules, and practices need to be observed in order to avoid accidental injury to the users, damage of computers, or lack of a conducive environment for teaching and learning. So here we are assuming we have finished to make our lab, we have put the computers. We now have to put in place a number of safety precautions, rules, and practices. So what are those items? I will start by displaying the first topic, the first heading here. That is one of the security measures, and this particular one is a physical security measure. So when the question talks about, or when anyone asks you to discuss the physical security measures of a computer lab, what do they mean? They are trying to refer to what? When they put a computer lab here, the physical security means, don't tell us that you put a password. Don't tell us to make backup and so many other points that you could have mastered in your revision. When they talk about physical security measures, here we concentrate at employing a security guard, but also put a padlock, do so many things that prevent a physical computer or physical room from damage. So the first one that I would emphasize here would be buying a very, very good padlock that can be used for that computer. I want to see by show of hands if there is any physical security measure that you'd employ to prevent your computer lab from those damages. The physical security measures. If you know any, put your hand up and give us. Kevin, is that math still? Kevin?
Yes, teacher.
Did you find submath?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Okay, sorry about that. Just settle here. How many people are doing submath here? Do we have only one person? Let me lower people's hands, and if you're doing submath, first put up your hand and see. I want to call Mr. Kadziba and find out. It might remove me out of the meeting shortly.
Sorry.
Okay, Kevin, first hold on. I find out from you.
CK.
Yes, so that.
Gwesike.
Okay, I requested Mr. Kasva to pass by. He will come and tell us where the submath is taking place from. But for now, I can't talk to him now. Maybe, Kevin, you can wait a little bit from here. We were talking about the physical security measures. I saw hands up, but for the same names. Can we have some other names here? Or else the same names can give us the insight of how these points look like, maybe for others to also join in. The physical security measures, if you know any. Yes, Mark?
Okay, thank you. So I think like installation of CCTV cameras, then maybe employing security guards, then plus putting burglar proof in the windows of the lab.
Yes, the CCTV cameras, then the burglar proofs among other items. But what is important here is that after doing all those things, you must employ a security guard. Any other point? Douglas, your hand was up.
The main one that I wanted to say was the CCTV installation of CCTV cameras, but I also think the other physical security measure is the maybe that wooden carpet to prevent the students from if they have dropped any of the gadgets, at least the damage won't be bad.
Right, that is another option that he has added, putting a wooden carpet. Yes, any other person who can give us a trial? If you put your computer lab, what are some of the physical security measures you can take to prevent that lab equipment, but also from damage? Mark, do you want to add another one? Mark, your microphone is closed.
Yes, please.
Do you want to add something?
So maybe just to add to the list, well, you can use system logs such that even though someone enters, it is difficult for them to access the inner information of your computers. Then
the system
you can
logs
also
like what? The computer password, the password. So which logs are those? Padlocks?
Yeah, the passwords and yeah, I think basically the passwords. Then
okay,
also,
now I think I've now got some point here that I have to clarify. You see, when we talk about the physical security, even if you put a password, the computer can be stolen. So I think a password, if you're securing your system with the password, it doesn't prevent it from being stolen. Like your phone, it has a pattern, it has a password, but it doesn't stop people from what? Stealing it. So maybe that point can be reserved and next a unit that we talk about. You were adding something?
okay, maybe I can add use of alarms.
Yes, alarm clocks. I mean alarm bells. Yeah, they are very important as well. Yeah. Any Peter? Peter, you have something? Peter, what is that you want to put across?
For me, I wanted to say, what about bolting, whereby you tie the hardware components together, like the wire.
The point is what? Now we've lost Peter, but
the point is bolting, which is the tying of computer hardware together.
Bolting. I've never heard of the word bolting, but the point you have is also, because these items, if they've not been tied together, they have not been tied together, it's very hard for you to manage them. They can stolen. Like for us here in the computer lab, on average, I wanted to show you some of these cables you can use to tie. I want to find out if it is possible here. Maybe let's get I will show you some of those cables later. Douglas, thank you, Peter. Douglas, you can take up from there.
The other thing to prevent like the theft of the hardware devices, the students, at least they should be thereby outside the lab or inside the lab, but somewhere where they are seen, where the bags can be seen by either the teachers or the security guard. And also, like if at all they have entered with their bags, the body there, either the security guard or the teachers, at least should check every bag of every student if they have entered with the bags up to the where the computers are.
That's hold on, like checking the bags as they go out or as they enter, or what was that point?
Checking the bags as they go out.
Checking the bags as they go out. Okay, I think that is a good one.
Yes.
That one, but I think we wanted to put across something that I wanted to hear, but the challenge we get with students' bags is that much as you're protecting the computer from being stolen, the students themselves steal each other's bags, and it can bring a lot of commotion, unlike of recent where we are now using CCTV cameras, but it can become a problem as well. So I would think, much as it's a good point, but you don't overdwell on it in the physical sense. Don't tell your students to leave the bags outside the lab, because Sengendo, Amid, first close your microphone.
Yes, sir.
First, close your microphone. Then, Peter, did you want to say something? Peter, your hand is up.
Yeah, I wanted to say, what about burglar proofing again?
Yeah, I beg your pardon, about what?
Sir, burglar proofing, is it also a physical measure of security?
Yeah, burglar proofing is also a good physical measure. Go on the Meridian and Seleko. Seleko, if that is how they pronounce the name again. First, get me back those host rights. I share the screen. Yeah, when you talk about burglar proofing, yeah, you cannot run a computer lab. You cannot run. Godwin, close that microphone. Godwin, close that microphone. Speaking. Meridian.
Yes, please, sir.
Go to participants and bring back the host rights.
I invite them.
No, go to participants and look for my device. Then
yes.
you make the co-host or something.
Okay, sir.
Let me try to share and see if it is. I think it's not possible. Okay, you've talked about the burglar proofs. Like I told you, it is very hard to run a computer lab without those burglar proofs. So all you need is to have those burglar proofs fitted. Normally they put them in the windows, and the main importance of these burglar proofs is to prevent these small components like a mouse from being thrown through the window. Otherwise, you
Teacher, I've made you the co-host.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
You may think you're teaching students, but before you know it, they have carried all your mouse, you've carried all the keyboards, and you don't have any of them. So these burglar proofs are good physical security measures you can deploy inside the computer lab or outside the computer lab. Okay. Those are some of the things we can talk about. Godwin, you have something to put across? Right, Godwin, I've closed your microphone many times. I close, you open. This is the last time I'm closing. And if you open again, it will be intentional and you'll be out of the team. So the physical security measures, just in case you need to write some of them down. The first one is employee security guard. And these people are so good. You can employ from maybe advertise, or you can just go to these companies. They provide those security guards, preferably a person who has a gun. And it's good to have that guard and keep the physical security of the computer. Then fitting in locks, doors, windows, and roofing. So when you come to the computer lab, these computer labs they can put doors, or else if you leave them open, they can just walk into and pick your computers and go with them. So make sure you put a door which has a lock at least. If you can also lock the computers on the tables, the better, like Peter tried to suggest earlier. But put windows and the roofing. Don't leave your computer open. And roofing is not majorly for only thieves, but also rain can come, prevent it from rain as well. But also thieves in most cases steal computers from passing through the roof. If your roof is weak, then they can pass through it. And like what was done here at Mbali says, one of the computer labs they have been put in a basement, like the first, when it's a Kalina, the lower one, majorly it's so good for a computer lab because it doesn't have a physical roof. That is just only concrete and it's hard for people to break into. It is strategic. If you have your school and the computer lab has been put in such a building, it is strategic. Normally, that first floor on Kalina's. That is the good one for a computer lab. When you come to Balises here, all the labs, including chemistry, they've done that to prevent safety, but also the bad weather. We have so many of these points, the burglar proofs to avoid unauthorized access to the computer room. And these burglar proofs in most cases are fitted in the windows. Then the alarm security alerts, and these ones can be, I think there is something missing here, but this alarm can be put on maybe a padlock such that if a person touches it, it makes noise. Or they can put it on the system unit. You see that system unit here? Last year we had so many cases of students stealing hard disk drives. So what we did was we made sure all the system units are locked with padlocks, but maybe a padlock is a lighter one. But the best you can do to the system units, lock it with a padlock, put an alarm, such that whoever tries to open the system unit, because that is where the hard disk is and the RAM and those other very delicate components of the computer, it makes noise. So if you do that, you'd have protected the physical security of the computer. The alarm securities are so good. You can buy a padlock that has that embedded inside it, or you can buy and fit on the padlock. Then the cable locks, I wanted to show you the cable locks here, but you must have known them. These cable locks are used for those who have ever seen any wiring at home. They use those cable locks to tie these cables together. But here, the real reason why we use cable locks is to make sure the mouse, the keyboard, the monitor is fastened together. It's very hard for you to remove a mouse from this lab. And it is also very hard for you to remove the keyboard just because we've tied them together. Those cable locks are very important. And you can do so many things, including the last one, which are the biometric device to prevent unauthorized access. But this one is not so much here in the country. It is majorly in those developed places. I have not walked to the Kampala computer labs, but around Bali computer labs, at least I know we don't have any of that biometric device to prevent unauthorized access. How does it work? Students, part of their physical features are captured into the system. For example, maybe the face, or it could be the fingerprint. And it is that you put to be allowed to enter the computer lab. We were at Mengo SS one day, and I saw when you're entering their gate for students who are from Mengo SS, they take attendance at the gate. At Mbari Sisia, we are in the last stages of implementing it. At least they have done it for teachers. But maybe next time we may have the same. And how does it do? A student's data is captured. Then when you put your fingerprint, it tells whoever is controlling the system that the student has arrived. And when you're going out, you still check out. So at the labs, what happens is that if you're entering, you put your fingerprint and maybe the door opens, or if you're not the authorized person, if you put the fingerprint, even when the door is open, it makes noise such that you're not authorized. Maybe the security guy can carry you out of the lab such that you get out. Why would you come to a lab when you're not authorized? Normally, students don't steal things. People who are not students, like technicians, those ones are the ones who can carry some of these gadgets. And how do they access the computer lab? They can disguise as students on uniform and come around and request to use the lab. You know, you may not be very, very keen to know whether it's a student or not. Before you know it, they've carried the keyboard away, or maybe they've removed the RAM, or maybe the hard disks. So it is a good technology, though it has not reached here in the country majorly. But if your computer lab has, maybe by show of hands, do we have any computer lab that would be on that level, and which school is that? I think we don't have.
Pardon, Master.
I want to find out if your computer lab uses fingerprint. to enter the lab? Peter, do you have a computer lab in your school?
Yes, master.
How is the entry like? Do they search when you're entering? How do they protect you from? How do they scrutinize the unauthorized people from entering?
It has burglar proofs everywhere.
Okay, burglar proofs, yes, they have been fitted, I think, around the windows to prevent that access. Okay, we've talked about the physical security. We need now to talk about electric power security measures. Inside the computer lab, almost electricity is everywhere. And there is a picture here that is showing you how power can be put into the computer. And there is a system unit here, and you can see that cables are passing up to the socket on the walls. Most computer labs don't use the extension cables because of its because of what is known about extension cables. They can be stolen, but also they make wires to be crossing inside the computer lab. So they opt to put these sockets on the walls. So when they put sockets on the walls, what we expect from the user is that you come with your power cable, connect to the wall, and connect direct to your computer. So how do you prevent electric power security power? Maybe shocks from the computers, but also the computers themselves and the user. I want to hear, if such a question was posed, what would be your answers? Like, what do you have to do? Electric power, the umeme, how do you do security on them? What would be your first point? Mildred?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mildred. Yes, Mildred, you can go on.
UPS. My plugin is.
Okay, thank you, Mildred. Your network is not very good. I request that you get a better network and get back, but at least I've had using a UPS, a stabilizer. Those are very important, such that you see when power just abnormally shuts down and the computer goes off, it can crash down the hard disk. So to avoid such mistakes, put a UPS which keeps power temporarily for you to switch off computer very well. And when it just goes once, you would have risked the computers. They can crash the hard disks and you may not use it the next time. But also the stabilizers, she talked about them. And these stabilizers provide stable power to the system unit. Sometimes the volts can be so high, it steps it down. Sometimes the voltage can be low and it amps it up. Can we get the next one? Any other suggestion for electric power security measures? Yes, Mark Rory.
Yeah, I think you can use surge protectors to prevent electric shocks from the users. And then also,
what are the surge protectors? Don't make me check here. What are they? All right. Do we still have Mark here? Mark has left. Any other person who can give us? Yes, Peter, you can proceed. Peter, you can proceed. Open your microphone. We can't hear anything. Peter, open your microphone for us to hear. Otherwise, we can't hear anything. Any other person? Mark Glory, you can proceed if your network has stabilized as Peter prepares to open his mouth. You were
I was
talking about
talking
surge protectors, but I seem not to have understood what they mean, or maybe you were using it wrong.
okay, like should I call them machines that help to reduce possible shock in case there is a bleed somewhere, they just cut off the power supply. Or maybe we can just say, make sure like the wires are well insulated and you don't have any naked wires.
I sensed that you're mistaking that surge protector with insulators or some machine that, but a surge protector is the other name for a stabilizer. A stabilizer is also called a surge protector. And normally it does not, because the way you put it, you said it prevents shocks, maybe to a person. So a surge protector, majorly, its intention, its role is to prevent the voltage fluctuations. If they are so high, it steps it low. If they are so low, it steps it a little high. Maybe that is what I wanted to clarify on, Mark, and you can proceed and give us the next one. Unless if you want to tell us the surge protector you wanted to mean is different from a stabilizer.
No, thank you, sir, for the correction. That was my point.
Okay. All right, so we can have as many as possible, but also make sure you've insulated your cables. The cabling should have insulators because you're going to deal with many children or many users. Let not power be just out there. I was at the university where I was, there were no cables. It was hard to see a cable inside the computer lab because most of the things are now wireless. I don't know if you know that they are wireless monitors. For those who have got chance to see smart TVs, you can wirelessly connect your phone on that monitor without any cable. But also, you can wirelessly connect your laptop to that smart TV without any cable. So we are about to enter into an era where there is no cable inside the computer lab. But for now that we still have cables, make sure you insulate them. Don't leave any wires naked, otherwise it can shock the users. I want to talk about these points quickly. The first one is place not more than 2 computers on each circuit. For example, if this is a circuit, don't put many computers on one of them, otherwise that can be a very big problem. If there is any breakdown, it can break down in one, it can cost the entire computers that are connected to that circuit. Then insulation of these cables, very important. Make sure you use insulated wires, don't use naked wires. Like now, the ones for umeme, for those who have ever seen umeme poles, that's why they put them up there, because those wires are not insulated. Never deceive yourself to go and climb and touch those wires, unlike of recent where they're using insulated cables, but I know they've not removed all the uninsulated cables. Touch it and you may not come down. So then keep the circuit for computer systems separate from all other equipment such as the printers. We have other equipments like printers in the computer lab, but we also have scanners. We have things like the projector. We have so many equipments in the lab. It could be the blower. It could be now at Balices, we have a display board for students who want to learn some of these parts. Put them for them there and it has light. So separate. I wanted to see if this lab has some, if it has some wires near here. Let me see. I pray that we have some wires. Yes. Now here you may not see wires because the wiring here has been done a little well. But there are wires that are moving down for those who can see these wires if you can zoom in. So make sure if you have your printer, when you put it where this boy has put the bag here, when you have your printer here, don't again connect it to the same circuit. Otherwise, that will be too much for this one circuit. Always try to separate such that if the printer is faulty, it only stops on that one circuit. Otherwise, it will break down all the entire machines. And these are very important facts for those who are going to manage computer labs. You're going to manage these computers and they are very, very delicate. So keep the circuits for computer systems separate from other is the point. Next one is plug each computer into a surge protector or the UPS. Now the surge protector is the one that I told you that it's called a stabilizer. Some books call it surge protector, stabilizer. A stabilizer can also be called a surge protector for those who are going to come across it. You're going to find they're talking about a surge protector and they will talk about a UPS. The question will be, what is the difference between a surge protector and a UPS? And the main difference here is that the UPS stores power. A UPS stores power. It's like a power bank, but it also it protects the up and low volts. It can also step them up and down. So the UPS done everything what a surge protector can do, but also it also stores the power. This one is slightly expensive because it does two things at the same time. This one is also very important, but slightly cheaper. Now, I don't know if there are people here listening. I want to just pose a question for you. If this was your computer lab or at home you have a computer, would you go for a surge protector or a UPS? By show of hands. You go for what and why? Because the question can look like that and you have to explain. What would you go for? And I'm seeing the same hand here. I wonder what some other people are doing here. A person like, there are many, there is, okay, I want to sample some people. Your hand up if you know what you can buy. There are two things there you want to buy at your home. You do go for a surge protector or a UPS. I want to see hands up. I needed to see almost everyone's hand up here. Don't make me to pick people at random. And when I pick you and you don't speak, you know the policy here, you get out of the meeting. And let me see the hands. Only two hands here seem to have known what they can buy. Only two hands. This is not possible. Kaka Junior, what would you go for? Kaka Junior. Kaka Junior. Kaka Junior's gone off the meeting. That is better at least. Let me pick another person. Who else here? Mary John, what would you go for?
The UPS.
And why?
Yes, please, sir.
Why would you go for UPS other than the surge protector or the stabilizer?
Because it stores and it also protects.
Yeah, the surge protector, if power goes off abruptly rather, it risks the computer hard disks from crashing, but the UPS would be better. I think that one a good one. Yes, Peter, what would you go for and why? Is it the same? Peter, you had your hand up.
UPS.
UPS. And
because
UPS stands for what?
Things. Yeah.
UPS stands for what?
Uninterruptible power supply.
Yes, uninterruptible power supply. Very, very important. They will ask you to distinguish between them. So that is the surge protector. And yes, lay cables along the walls in track to prevent electric shocks and power disconnections caused by stumbling on cables. Now here, I don't know that side, but me here, my classes normally, when you tell them you're going to the computer lab, irrespective of the level, whether A level or O level, the excitement in most cases surpasses their mind at that point, and you see students just from nowhere start to run because they want to either sit in front or maybe they're excited to sit in the computer lab, but also there are students who raise doors in class. So maybe a computer is even better. So you see students excited. This one is across O level and A level. And you can't stop them. It's not a bad habit. We've done this also at high school. And if students are doing it, it doesn't surprise so much. So when students flock into the computer lab, it's very hard for you to stop them from running on those cables. So if you've made your cables cross in the lab, hey, you're going to make these computer cables disconnected. And if they are disconnected in a hurry, maybe it can break down. And when it breaks, of course, there will be electric shocks. And those shocks can, in most cases, remove life. A person can die. Or maybe the shocks can cause fire outbreaks, but also the computer may crash down, or it can break down, you know, when power is disconnected if there is a short circuit. So when you to avoid that, put in mind that students can run in the lab, even when it is a rule that there's no running in the lab. Put in mind they can run. Then start to put your cables so well on the walls, fit them properly. And such that even if children rain, even if the users rain in the lab, but also even the users, it may not be out of excitement. A snake can come, or maybe even fire can come. As people are running out, they should not break down cables. So it is advisable for you to put them on the walls, unlike here, where we have no choice but to also use the middle bit of it, because we have about 100 computers in one room and they cannot all of them fit on the wall. So we're forced to put about 40 computers in the middle, just hanging. So when you put computers not next to the wall, how do you now put the wires? Put them below where people cannot access easily, so that there are pathways and they don't disconnect them in case of any run. So very important for electricity, and always install lightning conductors. Now this is what you could have forgotten in those who tried out. So even lightning is part of electricity. I don't know which form of electricity is that. It should be static electricity for those who do physics. Here you can guide us. Which form of electricity is that one for lightning from rain? I think lightning is from rain or from... Yeah, but lightning can mean to be very, very destructive, can strike down the whole building. Is there anyone who knows lightning here and try to explain to us more? And how do you prevent it? Especially those people who understood physics at O level, or maybe doing it at A level, you know, a better explanation for this. Yes, Peter, you can try. What is lightning? Is it something we should fear in the computer?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because lightning occurs when, like, between clouds of different charges. When they rub against each other, maybe a cloud has a positive charge and the other has a negative charge. When they collide, they produce that lightning.
First, wait, the clouds are different up there. May I say as if they are all gray? How do you know one is positive and negative? Is there a special machine they use, or you can see?
Teacher, that is physics.
It's physics.
No, like, teacher. Teacher, like,
yes, please.
Charges are everywhere. Everything has a charge.
Okay.
Charges are everywhere and everything has a charge. So when two opposite charges like collide or attract, there is that tendency of discharging, like what? Discharging either light or
sound. Okay, list here has given us that insight that the clouds of opposite charges collide, and it is that light we see. But all I know here is that lightning is very, very, very destructive. It can strike down the whole building or even a tree. And when it gets a human being, it's even worse. So always plan for lightning as well. And if there is a lightning, I expected Peter to even tell us, how do you prevent lightning, or how do you protect yourself from lightning? Because I always see something like a cross put on these tall buildings, called the lightning conductor or something. How does it work? And does it help, or it just gives us confidence? Do we have the physicians here, or Peter has now gone and all these? Yeah, Peter is not here. Who understands lightning here and how it works? Yes, Douglas, yes, you can go on.
I think I'll have to try.
Trying how to trap them or how they come.
Okay, like lightning, like he explained that it comes from the clouds by rubbing. That it is static, it is static, it is an example of static electricity. So like if that lightning occurs, like you're saying, sir, that it has dire consequences, it can even lead to a burn down the whole building. Like it can be prevented by the lightning arrestor, which has very sharp endings, and those sharp endings have charges, and these charges attract the lightning coming from the clouds. Since it is static electricity, like you can get a ruler and rub on your hair and try to put it on your skin and feel as if your hair is, the small fur on your skin is standing up. That's what happens to the what? To the lightning arrestor. The lightning arrestor will work as the hair on your skin, and the clouds will work as if you've caught a ruler and you're rubbing it on your hair. So like the ruler plus the hair will make some electricity. So the hair will gain, maybe the hair will gain and then the ruler will lose, and then it will be able to attract. So it means the clouds, when they have rubbed together, they cause lightning. That lightning, one of the clouds has gained electrons and the other has lost, and that light comes out. And when it comes out, the sharp endings of the lightning arrestor will be able to grab that light or fire that is coming from up, that electricity, and then it will direct it to the earthing which has been made underground through, I think it is a copper. I don't know, but I've kind of forgotten it, but it is directed from there up to the ground, the earthing. I think that's all.
Right, thank you, Douglas. I think that one gives us an idea of how to prevent yourself from this lightning. Not only for the computer labs, you can interest yourself even at home, make one arrestor if it is affordable anyway, such that it can help you arrest this lightning, like he has tried to explain. Otherwise, for computer labs, it is almost compulsory for us to put these lightning arresters. So what makes a student pass ICT is when you can give examples. You may not explain this in details, but just telling us that use of lightning arresters to prevent lightning. That one alone, that point alone becomes heavy, not like in physics where you have to really bring down to the earthing and what. So it can be as easy as that. What is important here is that lightning is another type of electricity that he has explained, that it falls into the other category of static. So as you're talking about electric power, also plan for lightning. Very, very important. So we'll be talking about the security cameras. And for security cameras, when we come to the lab, we use security cameras to keep watch over computer systems, and these centers use CCTV cameras to record videos which can be viewed in monitoring rooms and playbacks. Now here, they're going to ask you the use of CCTV cameras inside the computer lab. So some of those 2 points can help you remember what to write if such a question is asked. But security cameras are very, very good. Previously, we used to have a lot of theft in school here, but as we speak now, yeah, even if you left your bag, their chances are so high that you may come back and get it. And you get it intact because now there are cameras all over the school, and these cameras should not be limited to only the computer lab. Like I told you at the other time that we can have a camera that can be remotely controlled using our mobile phones. I want to see if I can see that slide here. Maybe slide 9, see. Yes, the security cameras. There are cameras that can look like this. Don't only limit these cameras to only the computer labs. Even at your home, you can buy one camera. Put it in the compound to see what the children do while you are away at your workplace. Even in church, they've now recently started putting cameras, and you can remotely control using your smartphone. Mary, yes, Mary, you can go on.
Yes, I wanted to ask CCTV in full. CCTV in full.
CCTV in full. Someone should tell us what is CCTV in full. And CCTV is very, very common abbreviation. They ask people to write in full. And yes, maybe Peter, you can tell us what is CCTV. Peter, your microphone is closed.
CCTV stands for closed circuit television.
Okay, closed circuit television.
Closed circuit television.
Closed circuit. Is it circuit or circuit? Mildred has written it in the chat, and maybe let me just post it here for all of us to hear.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It's very important.
Yeah, circuit.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. It's a closed circuit television. So when you say CCTV alone, it doesn't mean those cameras. So you have to say CCTV camera. That one now means closed circuit television cameras. Very important. You can go to Jumia. I may not have enough time to check for you, but this one's about 50,000. Let me see if we can see that. You can buy, for those who make videos at your homes, why would you move everywhere with the camera? Place it up on the wall and go ahead and what? Go ahead and release on Jumia, such that for those who would want to buy such cameras, you can go with this camera at your home place. If there are some people you would always want to record, but when they don't, just put the camera there and sit inside the house. I think it works for a shorter range, which shouldn't be very far, but it's very helpful. So inside the computer lab, it's very important for us to have those CCTV cameras, the CCTV for phone. I'm going to display this. It's wireless. Okay, it's here. Let me just display it. Okay, when you go to Jumia, you'll be able to buy such. I don't know if you're able to see. Unfortunately, I don't have two screens here to see if you're able to see this. Now, there is a camera here called mini Wi-Fi camera. It's very good at 76,000. And when you open it to read about it, you can see the specifications. It's very good. You can buy it. It can be connected to your phone. You put it outside, it can pick the voice as well. And this one, if you're in Bali, they can bring it for you. In Bali, you just change here and see if you can buy this. But we also have one that is slightly cheaper, I think. This is more expensive. It's like a bulb. Now, those people who move out there, don't be always very excited to sit in places where there are those big bulbs. You may be seated and you're doing funny things under a camera when you don't know. How is this camera placed? They put it just below this place where the light comes out from. And for those who have the money, you can buy this at 85,000. And you put this bulb inside your shed, the sitting compound. You can put it there such that it is working as a bulb, but also recording pictures remotely. So it can also be very helpful. And there is a camera I saw here on Jumia, but they even give you a free memory card that can keep. Now this one is the one I was showing in the other presentation, but it is shipped from abroad. It's 178, slightly expensive, but there are cheaper ones that you can buy. Very important. So I feel these cameras should be considered. Look at them. Let them not look as if they are for whites. Teacher, are these other kinds of cameras? Yes, CCTV camera. I don't want to explain it here, but it doesn't work like the normal cameras. It records very low resolution pictures. You see, when you're using a smartphone to record a video for just 2 minutes, it can be already in 1 GB. For those who know what I'm talking about, it can be already in 2 GB. But what if you're recording for the whole day? Now, a CCTV camera can record for 1 full year without going off. So, because what makes it be a special camera is that the CCTV camera can record for the whole year, but still the file is a bit light. 2, it doesn't focus on only one person. It picks everything around that area. You see, when you're using a camera and anything passes, it tends to darken.
CK. Mary, how do you do it to become the host?
Mary,
I'm doing nothing.
Can you explain why you become the host immediately?
So nothing. I'm doing nothing.
Now, for those who are wondering, the host is me, but the first person to enter the meeting, if the host leaves, becomes the host, if the meeting is not closed. So I am almost forced to say that Mary was the first person to join this class. That's why she's becoming the estimate it like. Now we have terrible network here, and yeah, I'll be going off and on like that. Mary, bring back the rights such that I can share my screen here. So I was telling you about going around to look for these cameras. Buy them. Don't think these things are for whites only. Why would you go to someone's home and you start just playing around, and yet you are an ICT student? At least have that sense in mind that there could be cameras here. So it's very important to know how to put these cameras, but also respect places, public places. So I want us to continue with our presentation, which was slide number, I don't remember the slide number, 15, 59.
Mary,
Okay.
share the powers.
Peter, what is that? Okay, the CCTV cameras, then the first aid kits are also among the safety precautions. Then the first aid kit, a first aid contains the necessary items for providing care of any emergency in the computer lab, such as shocks, but also those injuries when you cut yourself. They are also necessary for repair and maintenance tools. These tool kits, now this point has two items. The first item is a first aid kits. Then there is what we call the tool kits. Now the tool kit is used by the electrician. What if a student calls you that my computer can't power on? For you as a technician, when you come, you need to check and see, is there power first of all? So you need to check your toolkit and see if you have a tester to check if there is power. Or you need to have a driver, these screwdrivers that open, those doing physics. This is now your area too. You need to buy these kits. Someone's laptop is not working, you open. You don't get a nail and you use to open. You're going to spoil people's machines using nails. Meanwhile, I was growing those days, but of course we didn't have toolkits by that time. For us, we would open these phones using knives. You get a knife and sharpen it well, pray to God that you don't spoil. Then when you open it, it will open. But now they give you someone's smartphone and you're opening with a knife. Maybe before even you reach to fix, if they tell you that I am unable to hear when someone calls me, but those people are hearing me. Yeah, if someone is able to use the phone, can chat, can use the internet, but cannot hear, then by the time you open to fix that problem, when the screen has broken, so you'd have caused even a worse state for that person than the previous one. So you must have these toolkits, and majorly they are used to do ICT repairs and maintenance. Normally, just to do simple repairs and maintenance. And for those who have never seen these toolkits, you can also put in Google, and it shows you these toolkits. I'm unable to see time, hope we still have some time. I wanted us to talk about protection against fire. And protection against fire, we are supposed to install what we call the smoke detectors, but also the fire extinguishers. Then protection protection from heat. Now, protection from fire, let me, before we bring heat, the fire can break out in the computer lab. How do you protect the users, but also the computers from that? Yeah, we have about 17 minutes, so we can wrap this up. So you can install what we call the smoke detectors. These smoke detectors, they are like alarm bells. When it senses smoke, it makes a lot of noise. Now, this one is very helpful at night. You see, when you leave your lab and go to sleep, there is always this guard that sits at the gate and may not know that the building has caught fire. So there should be a smoke detector such that if there is any sense that there is smoke here, it makes alarm and people run to go and rescue the lab. But the obvious one here is the fire extinguisher. And we said the fire extinguishers that you use here should not be any type of fire extinguisher. There is a fire extinguisher that uses water. There is one that uses powder. And unfortunately here we've already displayed, but the fire extinguisher that is recommended should be the one that has been filled with carbon dioxide gas. Hope those who know chemistry, carbon dioxide is used to, does not support burning. And if we had people of chemistry here could have explained to us why carbon dioxide cannot support, can be used in the lab to stop fire, and yet carbon dioxide seems to be a gas. Anyway, we may not go so much into the chemistry details, but at least the primary or secondary chemistry that I know, science, is that when you introduce carbon dioxide gas, the fire goes off. The explanation can be got in chemistry for those who are going to do chemistry at A level or who are already doing. So don't use powder, or don't use the one for water. Don't use this one because water will damage that computer. Powder will also damage that computer, because why would you use powder? And yet we are saying the factor that you should consider to set up a computer lab is that it should be a dust-free environment. Instead, for you're carrying a fire extinguisher with powder that is full of dust, it is going to enter inside the system unit and it will penetrate maybe up to the hard disk, and you may not be able to read any information from that hard disk. Avoid the one that is powder, avoid the one that is water or any other, but consider the one that is for carbon dioxide gas. For those who were not here in the first lesson, we also showed these fire extinguishers. I want to just sample slide 8 and see if it's the one. Unfortunately, it's not the one. Let me see here. I did not number my slides, but there are fire extinguishers here. Yes, this is the fire extinguisher we recommend. For those who were here in the last lesson, I showed you the one that is the computer lab here, and it should be filled with carbon dioxide. And how do I identify that this one is carbon dioxide fire extinguisher? Who can identify for us the feature that shows that it is a carbon dioxide extinguisher? There are three features that are very, very important. Even a blind can look like this and know that this one is filled with carbon dioxide. What are those features? The quick one. You hand up and you show us that feature. Of course, there is this obvious one. And Douglas. Douglas, you're not clear. I was reading something that Peter had written about carbon dioxide, that it is a reducing agent. Yes, Douglas, we are not clear. Okay. Douglas, you're not clear. I'll close your microphone for now because I don't seem to hear you anymore. Douglas, get back to that good place you were first. Okay, Wanda is saying the outlet is bigger than the rest. Perfect, the outlet is bigger than the rest. Like you can see, it is called the nozzle, this bigger dark thing here. Then Martha says that it has a carbon dioxide label. Yes, there is a CO2 label on it. You look at it like this and you know this is for carbon dioxide gas. But the other quick feature is that it is cylinder, the smallest in size in most cases. And it is the heaviest. If there was a way we can check here, it is the heaviest. You people, it is too heavy to carry this fire extinguisher compared to the rest, including the one for water. The one for carbon dioxide is too heavy, and you need to read more about that. So these fire extinguishers are similar, look similar, do similar work, but using different approaches. So don't just carry any fire extinguisher if you hear that there is fire in the computer lab, and you run with it just to come and spoil computers. So let's avoid that. And use of smoke detectors, I've talked about that. How do you protect computers from heat? or the people themselves from heat? Is there any person, any idea? From heat? If the computer lab is heating up, what are some of the things you can consider to prevent the computers or the users themselves? Peter?
Teacher, we can use an air conditioner.
Yeah, the air conditioner. Yes, perfect. That is good.
Air conditioners.
Yes, that is good. Any other from the chat here has use of AC from CK. The fan from Tracy. Yes, you can install fans. Now, these ones are called cooling fans. Don't just write fan. It may not give you marks. Martha tells us air conditioner. Good ventilation from Benon. I think Benon has it. Don't only consider these gadgets. There is also this natural air that can be good for putting down the heat. Just put good ventilation. And if this was America or any other place that is good, why would you enclose computers inside the room? Put them in an open place such that people have to sit and enjoy using the computers. But here, when you try that, the next day you go back, you don't find even the keyboards. So let's see what is here. Air condition, there must be a good air circulating unit to avoid suffocation, avoid overcrowding. Don't bring so many people inside the computer lab. How about the curtains? The curtains prevent dust. They don't prevent heat. So ensure proper ventilation. Proper ventilation can be ensured by making sure the room has enough ventilation points, like window, installing of air conditioning system. Yes, so make sure the ventilation is there, but avoid overcrowding. Don't bring the whole class. If the class is so big, the place is going to run out of oxygen and people suffocate. Ensure proper or good aeration from the window. It's direct sunlight and high temperatures that may damage the hardware components. So don't again place your computer lab in a place that the sun can enter directly. Maybe this is where the curtains can help us. So try to avoid all those things. Otherwise, the computer can break down because of that much heat. Then there is what we call the dust control. So the dust control curtains are very important. By setting up a computer, consider a location away from excessive dust. Before even setting up a computer lab, don't consider a marketplace where to put your computers. If there is a big compound in the school, like here at Mbalisis, we have a place called the Kataka Grounds where those vehicles are always put, the concerts. Musicians come, they go to Mbalisis grounds. So there is a lot of dust down there. Then when the teacher approaches you and they want you to guide them on where they can put the lab because the two are not enough, then you say, I see good land in Kataka. I think when we take our computer lab there, it will be so good. You're forgetting that there's a lot of dust there. You would have wasted that money. So start by locating a place that is dust-free. Then there should be special curtains fitted to reduce entry of dust particles, like someone said. So put special curtains. Don't put these normal curtains. Put a slightly thick piece of cloth. I will assume you know those curtains. Computers must remain covered using dust covers when not in use. Now, there are these dust covers for computers and people violate them. And you find someone is covering a computer while using. You would be spoiling them. Let me see how they look like. Computer dust covers. Are the computer dust covers? Yeah, they look like this according to this picture that is here. Let me share this. The dust covers look like this. We have enough of them in this screen. And Yes, you can make one as a student of ICT. Don't only rely on buying them. This one looks like a polythene bag, but the dust covers that I have ever interacted with are pieces of cloth, like this one here. So when the computer is not in use, cover it kindly. Just cover to prevent dust from reaching it directly, but also water sometimes. Cover it. Don't leave it in an open. The dust covers are so good, it prevents dust from reaching your computer directly. So plan for those dust covers if you ever get a chance to work with a computer lab. So the last one here is the dust and waterproof covers should be put in place. Then there is this very important one, the blower. It removes dust from the computer components. So you can buy it as well, have it in the computer lab, but also use of woolen carpets to absorb dust. They will ask you to list some of these very important points you have to do to prevent dust from the computer lab. And what does a woolen carpet do? It reduces the effect on damage when light objects fall. Douglas explained this earlier. The next thing is that it minimizes the effect of electric shocks. You see, when you come to the computer lab and students have removed the shoes, they are stepping directly to the ground. And if there is any slight shock in power, those people are most affected. So, but when they are stepping there, if their legs is on a carpet, the electric shock effect is slightly small. Any physician here to explain how these woolen carpets can prevent the effect of electric shocks? Maybe it can explain the reason why here at Mbalisis we don't remove shoes when we enter the lab, because we don't have a very thick carpet. Do we have any physician here to explain for us why a carpet can help to reduce the effects? Have the physicians left? Yes, Peter, you can try it out.
Yeah, the earth itself is a conductor. So if electricity, electricity is earth. So if for example,
okay, we seem to have lost Peter, but he was starting that bit of physics. So the last one is to absorb electrical radiations. But what I want to emphasize here is this gadgets called the anti-glare filter screens. They look like this. Just fit them onto these computers. Peter, unfortunately, your network was not favoring. I chose to stop that explanation maybe later. So these screens look like this. They prevent too much light that comes out from these computer screens. What do? It's used it is used to avoid eye strain and fatigue caused by overbright CRT cameras. CRT monitors. It reduces electromagnetic rays from CRT monitors. And the best thing, it reduces the bright light from these monitors. So what is very important here. So those screens are very important. Then standard furniture, in most cases, very important. You can read more about that. Then software security measures. This is where I wanted us to concentrate. If the question does not talk about physical security, they have talked about software security. Software security could be the songs you've saved in your computer, the exam that you've set for students. How do you prevent it from this unauthorized access? This is a very important question. They can ask you this to explain how you can go about that. I want to hear what people would say about that. Your hand up and you give us, for example, a video that you've saved into your phone. If you don't want people to see it, how do you do it? A video is one of the software. It's a soft copy bit of it. Can I hear some of what people can say here before I display what has been written here? We can also use the chat. I saw people writing in the chat sometime. The good points here. Yeah, putting passwords is one of them. Martha says password. Let me just extend it on the screen here. Password, insert passwords. This is Martha. Hiding it, Meridian. Hey, I'm not sure. You may need to explain to us how they hide it. We're not talking on the video. This is Mary. Any other point? How would you prevent your software? It could be a software itself, like you've installed WhatsApp on your phone and you don't want people to access it. Now, two people have written antivirus at the same time. This is so good. We'll see if this is correct as well. Antivirus has been written by Tracy, but also Peter has the same idea. Putting the app in a folder. This is serious. Putting the app in the folder from CK. Now CK, I don't know what your name is. And I want to read more. I don't know if you people have ever heard of encryption. Sending a message that is encrypted. Encryption is very important. Updating the program, yes. CK is Cyrus. Okay. Tracy has added that you can update the program, because like those who use WhatsApp, if it gets outdated, then those are problems. So it's very important to keep updating it every day. CK is Cyrus. Firewall. Yes, firewalls from Peter. We'll maybe see what the following can be, how the following can be used. Any other? Okay. Maybe who wants to start? How do you think inserting a password can protect someone's soft copy? Soft copy could be an exam, it could be songs, it could be any file that is inside the computer. We have protected the physical access to the computer. They've told us not to carry bags. We've left our bags. But our file is safe. Not a file should not be carried from the bag. Is it safe? And Martha tells us you can insert a password. How does the password work? Make it hard for access. Trace is trying out something from the chat here. Yes, making it hard to access, but of course, who wants to try out for the password? Martha seems to be not sure what she wrote or she's typing. How can try out the password? Tracy, you seem to have had an idea. Okay, so you can put password, you can hide it. I have not understood, at least for password. Person without a password won't be able to access that file. But it can be stolen. Anyway, you can see it, but you may not be able to access it. It locks the screen before entry. Yes, that is the best. When you put a password in your computer, it automatically locks your screen before the person can use. They will ask you for the password. At Biases, the password is student for all computers. So without that password, you may not access the components inside. So, but also it is very hard for people to open that file if it has a password. Hiding it means what, Meridian? Meridian, do you want to try that out?
I meant, like, if you want.
Okay, Meridian seem to have one.
It also involves the password.
I didn't hear the first things. Maybe I beg your pardon.
I've said, like, for example, there are options in your settings. You can decide to hide a certain app or a certain document or any software thing that you have or any folder, anything. You can decide to hide it. So someone to access it, you have to first input the password. It also involves the password.
Okay, but hiding is another good one. It's another good one. It may not need a password as such, but a person cannot easily see it on the screen. Because of time, we may not explain everything. I want to just display what was here, and we leave here because of time. So the first one is computer should have updated antivirus software. You see, you have files, and like now students are getting report cards on Friday. You put all your report cards in the computer, and Thursday night, you have a flash going to print, and the whole file is corrupted, and you don't have now report cards. Students cannot be told not to come. Students come, and the computers have eaten up what? The report cards. You don't have what to tell them. They may even break down those screens. They can break down those mirrors and what in the name of demonstration. So make sure you have an updated antivirus to protect your files, your software from the viruses. Remote administration, and the remote administration is used when computers are networked. I want to get the one that talks about passwords. Unfortunately, it's not listed here, but we can have it added at least. Those are very important points under software security, and I wanted us to talk about the computer lab rules, and maybe because of time, we'll stop this here for now, and if we ever meet again, we'll talk about this. But I'm going to share this presentation, the whole of it. It has computer lab rules, and it has servicing and maintenance of a computer and so many other things. In fact, let me share it now on Zoom here, such that those who can access it and download it. You see, the beauty with ICT is that you can read. You don't need a lot of attention from the teacher to read this paperwork. You can just read it and master it, and you do exams and pass, unlike other subjects. So I can give you this in your free time. If you find some time, you read the last slides. So we'll be ending here for now as this presentation gets uploaded. So unless if there is any question, you can ask for now, but I want us to end here for now. If there is any question, you can ask. If there is no question, we get a person to give us a closing prayer, and we leave here for now. Otherwise, this is going to be our very last lesson at this holiday from the Holistic Learning Platform for ICT. And for those who are going to school, like at Mbali says, on Monday, I want to wish you safe journeys, but also success in advance for the candidates. I know some of the candidates won't come back again. Most schools keep students in second term holiday, and they wait for your name. Want to wish you success in advance, but want to also encourage you to read. A-level is about reading. Read and read and read and read. If you don't read in A-level, don't be shocked. I was reading about a certain school's performance, and students who have got above 10 points. You can count them by hand. So 10 points are very hard to get, but easy to get because we've seen people who get 20 points. What is the magic they do? Reading and making groups. I want to encourage you to make very responsible groups. This course is for only 2 years. You've already entered into a half almost of the 2 years. Most of the lessons are done in Senior 5. So in Senior 6, you may not ideally do much. So I want to encourage you to read. Don't use this holiday to watch football. If there is a must-watch game, you can go and watch. But it's not a do or die that you must watch football, must be out to club. It's not a do or die. Concentrate in books for these 2 years. Otherwise, if you read in these 2 years, you're going to fail Senior 6. And when you come back to Senior 5, there will be a new curriculum. And you won't just fit. So you may be requested to go back to Senior 1 or something like that, because you're the last lot of A-level that we are going to have, like we had you in O-level. You're going to be the last in A-level, so don't make any mistake. Your friends who couldn't listen to this advice and failed Senior 4 right now as we speak, they even don't know whether they are going to do exams. But when we are telling you such things, you take them for granted until when you are a culprit, it's when you can know that it is that bad. Get to principal passes and above and go to the university is all I can say. Can we get a closing prayer and leave here, unless a person has something to put across? Who is giving us a closing prayer? Peter, you can go on.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for the gift of life. We want to thank you for our lessons, and we thank you for all the participants and our teacher, Father King of Glory. We pray, Lord, Father King of Glory, that everything that has been taught to us, may we understand it and remember it as we are answering our final papers, Father. In the mighty name of Jesus, we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Peter. I want to wish you people a nice evening for those who are still having the evening time, but also a good night for those who are going to sleep straight now. And